From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
And I'm Jen Landa.
And we're here to talk. We're here to talk. Let me put all the words in the sentence. We're here to talk about Star Wars news, breaking news from a long time ago, or just this past weekend. We got a couple stories to get to, some updates, some looking ahead to second seasons that aren't officially greenlit, and we're going to talk about the reality of business and shooting things in LA versus London. A lot coming up. Before we get to that, I can remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And as always, we like to recommend a book, and we're recommending still Aftermath by Chuck Wendig. Go back about 10 years to one of the first new canon books that I quite enjoy. Start of a series, but Aftermath, Chuck Wendig. Check it out. Download your free audiobook today by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. That's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audiobook. Jen, you have the ask here, and I do have somewhat of an update on the potential 420th patron supporter. But what's our ask?
Okay, our ask is we are trying to reach 420 patrons on Patreon. We are a ragtag team. We're just going to be honest.
We're ragtag.
But we are a ragtag team, but Patreon helps keep this show running. And if you join us, you get access to our lively Discord where, I kid you not, there is currently a debate happening on the best baths in Star Wars. It is a lively discussion. I love it. I love our Discord so much.
I do too.
What's the update?
The update. So we're trying to, like I said, get to 420 paid subscribers on YouTube. Last I checked, 416. The 415 video is locked in. But Igor the Mad on YouTube on my Monday mornings, I like doing the ForceCenter Vertical Live, a little behind the scenes as I'm setting up shop. Here's what's coming this week in ForceCenter. Answer some questions. Igor the Mad said, is it wrong that I'm waiting to be the 420th patron so I can have that title and maybe do what he wants with that title there? And I said, absolutely. So we're getting close. We know who's going to be our 420th patron, Jen. Igor the Mad.
Igor. I appreciate it. We'll be ready to go. We'll celebrate when we get to that milestone.
There you go. Also on the YouTube channel, I want to highlight we have a new segment called Star Wars Power Rankings. Each week I'm going to put together something, at least through the Run Skeleton Crew, I'll say. Put together a top 3 power ranking list, taking the old sports talk style, smashing into Star Wars, and just having some fun with the format and looking at some of the things this week that were working in Star Wars for the fandom. A little positive celebration. And this week it was all Skeleton Crew. And like you said, that bath, Neil in his bath, got a lot of people talking this week. Now that segment I put together, Jen, it's half serious. It's fast paced. It's 5 minutes. I did not account for a lot of baths in Star Wars. But I kind of hinted that Neil was the first to really get there. And I still believe that. I think when you think of bath time, now you think of Neil. C-3PO's oil bath, Chimere in the hot springs or whatever whatever he was doing to tempt us all. Are there other baths that I'm missing?
I mean, the Bacta tank, is it really a bath or is it more medical? I mean, baths can be, good for your health as well. So I don't know. There is a lot of, wiggle room here.
I mean, I'd push back on look, if maybe like Boba Fett, he's healing. We see him in Book of Boba Fett. He's kind of got his little bath going. But if you're like Luke or some other people, Kenobi comes to mind, right? Wasn't he one in the Kenobi series? There was a bath scene in that. I can't remember now.
I can't remember either.
You don't want to be in there most of the time.
No.
You don't.
No.
You need to more than want to.
Yeah, it's not like Neil sudsing it up. Relaxing in that. It felt like a very 1980s big jacuzzi style type tub that I really want.
Absolutely. Ours has jets in it. So there you go. Before we get to news, we'll talk a little bit about some life adventures if we have them, but a little formatting update. Not that anyone truly cares, but for years on ForceCenter, you have us going to break. Not only is it kind of an old style traditional broadcasting thing that I love doing, but we actually needed to do that back on our old podcast hosting site. Anchor. We had to break up the files into 2 spots so I could properly put the commercial in the middle. That's why we had the "and we'll come back after this." The switch to YouTube kind of made that seem funny and awkward, but we kept doing it. But there's been some changes in Acast, our podcast hosting service. There's now 2 mid-roll ad spots, things that bore you. I know you all probably skip the commercials, and I would too. But now, because going forward we'll have like 2 commercial spots, we don't need to take the traditional break. Now it's really passe. So, Jen, we're gonna once that starting gun fires, we're going. News
That's
from start to finish.
Live to tape. Start to finish. No breaksies.
No breaksies. Claimsies, but no breaksies. In terms of Star Wars Life Adventures, not speaking for him, but Joseph Scrimshaw did wrap production on his feature film Dead Media, move into post-production, so he'll be back in the swing of Star Wars and ForceCenter soon. We expect at the time of this recording that will be our Skeleton Crew episode, second episode, looking at the 3rd episode of Skeleton Crew. And we look forward to having Joseph back, of course. We always miss his insights, his deep thematic conversations and thought starters. So that's coming our way. And then he'll return, get back into the, we didn't just want to drop him into the soup right away, Jen. You just shot a movie. We'll hold the fort a couple more days.
That's right. We were like, take some time. It's okay. I cannot imagine. He must be so exhausted. Oh,
yeah. I mean, because he even did one episode from like his original childhood bedroom while he was out there preparing the movie, and we were blessed to have him for that. But Joseph will be back soon, and he'll have a lot of life adventures making a film. For me, I did have a Star Wars Life Adventure, Jen. I finished Andor. I've got through the final 2 episodes in terms of my rewatch that I've been talking about. And moved. I poke a lot of fun at Tony Gilroy, and he's not the type of guy I think I want to hang out with. But he and his team are damn good. And this show really, I enjoyed it even more on the second, 3rd, or 4th. I mean, when we review the episodes, we watch them 2 or 3 times. So I always feel like I watch these series at least 2 or 3 times in the initial runs. But this is my first time revisiting the show since it was out, and we were covering it. Loved it. I forgot after Marva passes, there's the emotional scene where you see a lot of it through the eyes and perspective of B2 Emo. And there was something about that sad droid crying and not wanting to leave and not accepting Marva's death. It broke me, Jen. It just broke me.
B2 Emo, just adorable, childlike, pet-like. I don't know, but yeah. Oh, gosh, I should rewatch it as well. Certainly before season 2. When are we getting season 2 again?
April.
I can't remember.
April, coming out of Tokyo probably. Yep. So,
wow. Right around the corner.
Yeah, it might be a good time to start rewatching it. Maybe you might start your rewatch on January 21st, Jen.
Maybe. It might be appropriate. I'd rather watch that.
Might be the time. Might be the time. That's my Star Wars Life Adventure of being moved by Andor. Jen, did you have anything Star Wars-y in your life?
I did. Finally, I got my kids to sit down and watch Skeleton Crew on Saturday. And I said to them, just please watch 1 episode. I'll make you popcorn. And they were like, fine, 1 episode. Well, let me tell you, listeners and viewers, they were hooked. The first scene was not as scary. They talked a lot throughout both episodes, I will say. They talked a lot. And what was funny to watch with them was that they were so fascinated by the aliens. We take for granted how many aliens and creatures are in Star Wars. And it's just like, it's old hat, right? But with them, they're like, that person doesn't have a nose. Like, why are they this color? And look at that character. That's weird. Like,
I love that.
Perfect. Right? But they were all in. They loved it. It really hit my 9-year-old in such a way that she was so engrossed and really saw herself in these characters. Her favorite character is KB and Fern, and my 5-year-old's favorite character is Neil. And so I just loved it. And so we'll get to watch it again. I told you before, I wish it was released on a different day. Yeah. But yeah, we'll watch it on the weekends.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, I think we were looking forward here at ForceCenter at the Jen Daughters of Skeleton Crew report.
Yes. ForceCenter Kids.
ForceCenter Kids. We'll just release that edition. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a Star Wars Life adventure. With that, we're going to get to some Star Wars news. A couple items here to talk about. All of them small, minor, but very interesting. There is no official green light for a second season of Skeleton Crew. I say that because I saw that already out there. People commenting, not necessarily just in our channel, of like, oh, they announced a second season. No official green light for a second season of this show. But Jon Watts talked about having one in mind while speaking with Collider. We 100% have an idea for a second season and know what we would do. Goes on to say we have a built-in ticking clock of the kids and their age, and by the time we get production going, we know what age they would be, which makes sense, but it feels like it's in a lab. Like, we know what age. So we'd be riding towards that. You'll be growing up with these kids. It would be something like a 3 to 4 year time jump to make sense. We haven't seen the kids in a while, so it just depends on how tall the kids are. But we wouldn't do like a Stranger Things where we're like the next day, because it won't be. Which I agree with that statement, but that's I don't know if that's shade at Stranger Things. I mean, I don't know what they were supposed to. I don't know. That's a weird thing. Anyways. But he's not wrong. Anyways, Jen, thoughts on this whole thing? Of course, it's not surprising that these showrunners would probably have thought of 2 or 3 seasons ahead. But one thing that was different is I don't think they were anticipating the show being delayed a year, which again was such a soft, quiet delay that just was like everyone looked around and was like, wait, wasn't Skeleton Crew supposed to be out? So here we are. We're several years out from the production of the show. So yeah, this is something they'd have to compensate for. But your thoughts on this one?
Let me just say, I saw an interview. I was swiping Instagram, and I saw an interview with the kids, and I did not recognize them.
Right.
I did not know. KB, she looks like, I don't know how old she is, but I did not recognize her. Granted, she had different hair. But I'm like, they look like full-on teenagers.
Yeah.
Which can work. It is interesting, though, that I feel like this should have been. They should already be filming right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like after the Rotten Tomatoes certified fresh, I think I saw that this past week. The reviews have been positive. Kids are enjoying it, and now they're starting to go, maybe we should do a second season. And I'm like, get it going, guys.
Yeah.
Get it going, because you have a hit. It's resonating with, at least with my kids, and I'm excited about that. So let's greenlight this thing and get going.
Yeah, and look, we just had the disappointing round of news with the Acolyte cancellation and all that kind of stuff. You know, so it's an interesting time, and a lot of this. The show comes out, we get a vague report on whether it's its only season or not. Everyone involved, Kenobi, you're right. Great example of, we'd love to do a second season. I think all of them would love to do a second season. I think Kenobi, you could find a story. It makes probably less sense than the other series that are out there, but Acolyte. Ahsoka is getting a season 2. We're going to talk about that, but it wasn't initially the case. This is also how it goes in traditional TV over the years on the big prestige shows. I always go to the example of Game of Thrones, as world changing as it might have been and definitely was and seemed, it still had to wait to get picked up, right? There were still things it mattered. After season 1, season 2, I don't think until about season 3 or 4, it was like, we're going all the way to the end here, which is crazy to think, but that's kind of the reality of the business. So this isn't surprising here, but the streaming thing, the future of streaming, it's been frustrating. And I don't say you're frustrated, Jen, but I feel like your energy of, let's do it or not, or let's announce these and make hey, we got 3 seasons of the show coming. And even that changed, or 5 seasons. Oh no, 2. I don't mind the changes. I think you can pull it off, but I feel your energy here of just like, great, do it. You have the window now.
Yeah, there's something about like committing to it, which you're right, with traditional network television. I mean, they might say, oh, we're going to have a second season, or like you would wait to be renewed, right? Isn't that how it used to be back in the day?
Yeah. If your run
so
was
this
up,
is not unlike that, but I guess I've been burned. My heart has been broken, where I feel like we've had a lot of start and goes, certainly with the Acolyte. Obviously, we knew Kenobi was like a standalone, except for Ewan McGregor, who's like, no, we'll come back.
You want more? We got more. We got more.
Encore? Right.
Yeah.
But the fact, I go back to what you said, I think I've said before about the person that worked on, was it The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Who was it? A makeup person? Who was like, the kids are already too old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to say that because it's not true, but it will. I don't know how that would affect the actual story, right? It is a different type of story when you have teenagers as opposed to like
completely different type of story, and we don't know how this one finishes yet. The first season,
Right.
I'm going to assume it ends in maybe a nice, perfect bow, but I'm sure it wraps up. And I think so. I like what they're saying here. This is what I have been having conversations off air about this. Hey, if you're doing a second season at this point, you do the big time jump. They're graduated high school. They drifted off for whatever reason, and they have another adventure, but new characters. But for me, so I'm interested in the second season. 2 episodes in, I love this series. It's working for me. We'll see where it goes. Got it. But these characters are resonating already. You just explained your children loving these characters. Neil in the bath has resonated with many people. These characters being dropped into other stories, whether or not it's, I don't think Ahsoka season 2 would work, but who knows? But Thrawn movie, another series where these characters now exist, because we don't even know how Atten factors in and where they're going to end up. Are they going to end up on Atten and still locked away? Does the New Republic absolve them, take them in? Who knows? A lot of big things. But you could take these 4 characters, and I'd love to see them show up in other places too, especially as they get older. And then we get to grow up with these characters as they grow up in Star Wars. That'd be something to be interested in outside of just the second season, which I would be interested in.
Yeah, they have magic in a bottle right now. Like the chemistry between these characters on screen, and according to the Daniels, who talked about their experience working with the kids, having inside jokes, ribbing each other, ribbing them, right? Like this is a very, very special show. And I think that they would want to, just from like a business standpoint, capitalize on that, whether it is, like you're saying, including them in other live action shows or movies, or I don't know, graphic novels would be really cool. I know my daughter would enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
There's ways to continue these characters, but I would love a second and a third season. That would just be really, really great. I feel like we need that. I mean, Mandalorian has been wonderful, but we need more.
Yeah, it looks a movie versus a 4th season. And again, I know, and we're going to be talking about some industry stuff here in a second too in the other story. But like, the future, the industry's changing and streaming. Yeah, absolutely. But they're gonna Disney Plus isn't going away yet. You know what I mean? It's not that big streamers haven't gone away before, but there will be more Star Wars shows coming without a doubt. I just think how they're made and when they're made is up in the air. So this one, a hit's a hit, and right now it's a hit. Unless it gets to the ending, pop culture fandom has a problem with endings, so we'll see. The final episode could be unsatisfying. Who knows?
Who knows? Would you say, let's say that they're like, yes, we're going to greenlight this. How fast do you think they could get it out? How fast?
I mean, I think late 2026, the earliest.
Yeah.
If
the earliest, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if he's saying, I don't even know exactly, this interviews over the last couple of weeks, but like, we have an idea for a second season. How far are you putting that down? On paper, you could probably knock that out if you have an idea. You're talented writers, get your writers' assistants, you got a team around you, get it out there 6 weeks, not from today till 6 weeks. You could have a 6-week writer's room, get it going, put the pressure on. The volume allows for previs and speeds up production times, so you could do it. But it'd still be late 2026 for me.
Yeah, and all the visual effects, which they did such a beautiful job with this season so far. I don't know if they'd be able to do that on a very tight schedule.
And they had a little more time for it too. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. We definitely are on board for the idea. And just 2 episodes in, kind of trust what's going on. We'll see about that. But the second story is about a second season that we do know is coming. Ahsoka Season 2 is heading to London. Lucasfilm not shooting in L.A. These are the headlines. IndieWire was the one to kind of first bring this up. They announced this move by Lucasfilm that, again, Ahsoka will be shot in London. So there's a positive reason, and I'll choose my words carefully. I'll say less volume, more real, which sounds like a commercial, Jen, for some kind of floor wax or a dessert. But it's in the article on IndieWire of different filming techniques. That's not saying that it's going to be all Andor style, which was shot in London. Acolyte shot in London. Less volume or even no volume used in Acolyte is what I was reading. But I can't confirm that. And we know, as Gilroy will tell you, nothing used in Andor. It means the look and feel of the Ahsoka show will change, and I think that leads into the Thrawn movie or the Filoni movie, whatever we want to call it, the New Republic movie. And if Dave's show running the second season, as he's writing all the scripts again. Have a list of directors probably coming in for the second season if we don't know them already, if they're not already leaked or whatever. But it's interesting to me that this is the switch. There's a lot of reasons, but there's on the surface, John, I want to get your thoughts on just that idea of less volume, more quote unquote real, which we know is a word used often to describe computer graphics still. But going into the movie, how do you think about that change in style? What do you think about it?
It's interesting because when I was thinking back on Ahsoka, the first season, I didn't really recognize how much they used the volume. There was only a couple things that stood out to me, but overall, I felt like it was done pretty well in comparison to perhaps some other shows. I think it speaks to them plunking in some money. Or it's that, they have a team in place in the UK that they can call on. I just envision a lot of bigger sets, potentially some locations, right? And it's just going to feel, to use it, more cinematic. It's going to feel bigger in scope. And I think that that's a really good thing for season 2.
Yeah. And we always have this conversation around the stagecraft, the volume, and part of the reason we do is because Lucasfilm put it out there, right? That's all. Look at this thing. Come watch our behind the scenes footage. Look how amazing this is. Look what we can do. Look how the directors love it. Look, that's why we even know the previs it speeds up the post production process. They spent a lot of time saying, "Look at our new toy," which other people do use, and I think it's a great toy. And we've debated how it looks, and some shows look better. Again, the technology's just gotten better. They know how to shoot it more. They know how to light it more. That all makes sense to me. Kenobi had some great uses of it, had some okay uses of it. Kenobi was a show still shot during, the height of COVID protocols. I think that hurt the look more than anything. And that's just a reality. But I don't want to debate the volume of it all, but Ahsoka did look overall pretty good. I love some of the wide open shots. It felt, when you get to pretty, I think you felt some scope, and I enjoyed all that. I think some of the other things in Ahsoka didn't work for me. Things on the ship, it was sometimes too bright and vibrant, which is weird to say. So I don't know if it was a color grading issue. I don't know. And I'm not insulting any of it as like it looked like cosplay. It didn't look like cosplay to me. But it was like, I don't know, it was too bright. It was too cheery. It was too something that I couldn't put my finger on. Where some of the stuff on pretty, I really love. By the time Ezra shows up, I think I'm really pulled into that world. And I think the World Between Worlds stuff looked great. And I don't think the World Between Worlds is a real spot. I think that's made up. Anyways, I'm rambling here, but you know what I mean? Where I think it's just making that cinematic feel, as you said. It seems cliche, but I think that's what the show could use.
Yeah, it adds a realism that I think is important when you're dealing with the subject matter that they're dealing with. It also helps the actors to be able to be on a physical set, to touch things, to see where things are, to be in a big open space and on location somewhere, right? Feeling the actual elements of the weather. Like all these things can help an actor create a more realistic performance, more grounded performance. So I think that this is a good thing, and I'm actually really, really excited for it. We'll get to the sad part of it for Los Angeles.
And it's the truth. I'm glad we're discussing it, and I want to make clear, I'm not trying to be negative on either Ahsoka season 1 or how they've shot other shows. I think it's just been an ongoing process. I think George Lucas, when he heard and saw the volume, went and saw the volume and work, I'm guessing there was 1% of his brain thinking, I wonder if I could do one more. Like, it's just like, this is what he wanted. Like, this is what he talked about, and what the prequels helped establish. So it's just a natural growth of the technology. I'm just excited about maybe ramping up and getting Dave ramped up to shoot a film. And he has said in the past, there's a quote that was out there of, we know what works and doesn't work on the volume. And he was talking about the movie and how the movie will look that he's going to shoot. Whereas, because like, again, Solo, Rogue One, I think are my two favorite looking Star Wars films. The sequels, I love the look. There's a sheen to it sometimes that I don't like as much as Solo and Rogue One, but they're films. There's a different different thing here. But the reality, Jed, we have to touch upon this. Lucasfilm says this is not a permanent move for all the production, and Mando and Grogu just shot out here in Los Angeles and got a $21 million tax break. Tax incentives are big to this industry, and California has dropped the ball on that at some points, I think. Trying to get better. Houston's trying. But this means that no Lucasfilm productions are set to be in Los Angeles. I think I heard a stat, I want to get it right, yesterday. 1 out of 3 people in the industry live in Los Angeles. Only 1 out of 5 productions are shot here.
Wow.
And that's why this town is struggling right now.
Yeah.
You, me, everyone I know, struggling for various reasons. Because again, it's not just the actors, writers, and directors. It's the crew, it's the cast, it's the food, it's the person next door to a studio with a coffee shop. It's the person with the sandwich shop. The whole town's hurting because of this kind of stuff. So, but London is London and Star Wars go together.
Yeah.
There's a history there, Jen.
Yes, absolutely. It makes sense to me. Like I said, that they would have potentially their teams over there, people that they trust. They have their sets that they can maybe even borrow or recycle, reuse,
yeah.
right? But it is sad, and there is something that I cannot describe. But there is an energy that has been in LA that is now not here since the pandemic. It's weird. You're going by movie studios that used to be bustling, and the cafes nearby that used to be packed, and the cafe is now closed because people aren't in office. That a lot of that is also Zoom, right? People can take meetings from their home. They don't have to go into Sony Pictures. So it affects. It's like an ecosystem, right? And like you said, it affects all aspects of this city, and it's sad. It kind of there's a reason why we live here, right? And now it's like that reason is leaving. And it's just people are now working in Atlanta. People are working in all parts of the country, and to be in the movie business, you don't have to move to LA, which is weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, and I don't even know that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, hey, look, without technology, I don't know if ForceCenter would still exist.
Seriously.
Just getting across town for all of us and being in the same spot, it would be impossible. So there's always positives, and it's not like it only has to be in LA. And look, like Star Wars, I think until The Mandalorian, Star Wars hadn't really shot in LA,
right?
But it was part of that was because it was movies shooting on big locations, including Pineworth and over there in London. So none of it's. It just I don't know. I read the story and I was both like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. Wait. Right. Yeah, I barked at it like a dog. But I am looking forward to second season of Ahsoka a little bit more based on this information. Just a look and feel that will change up the show, and I think in a good way, and really highlight some of the stuff that's already there.
I agree. This actually got me excited.
Now, it is a tragedy. I don't know if they're going to recast Baylan Skoll. Tragedy that Ray Stevenson passed away, but an extra tragedy that we will not see his beard shot in a magnificent cinematic way. One of my favorite beards in Star Wars. All right. Final story here today, Jen, as we have a quicker news as we zip through some of the news this week. We did get a bit of an update on James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, unofficial title, what we're calling it, Dawn of the Jedi film. He and Beau Willimon, of course, a writer on House of Cards was what he was known for, but Andor was what he worked on there. He and James Mangold have been working on the script, and there's an update. Here's the update. My partner and I have been writing it. I don't know what's next because we haven't gotten to the end of that process. We're trying to finish a draft. Which I really love. It's such a writer thing, too, to be like, I don't know. We're just trying to finish this one. Hey, it's still happening. No doubts there yet. Thoughts on this little tiny update, Jen?
Yeah, it kind of cracks me up that like they're in the midst of writing this and they're having to give. Sorry, my God. They're having to give updates as they have, their drafts up, and they're like emailing each other. It's just. I can just only imagine. It's a very unusual situation, but that is because they are working on Star Wars, so people want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the update. I think it's important in this era of it's fair. Sometimes I hate it, but it's fair to poke a little fun at Lucasfilm over their movie news history that they've dealt with, even when it's not them. That's why I wanted to be clear on Skeleton Crew season 2 isn't announced. No one's announced it. Jon Watts is just talking about it. We still don't know anything about Sean Levy being officially greenlit for a movie, other than things he's said. And I'm saying sometimes I wish Lucasfilm would get out in front of that. Is what I would like in terms of the movie news narrative. But I just appreciate this little update. It's very real. And this is a movie I'm very much looking forward to. I really, Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm excited for. It's first out of the gate. Can't wait for more from Daisy Ridley and Shameen Abed-Chinoy and that movie, and just seeing what's going to happen with that. There was another piece of information came out. Daisy Ridley's been out doing a lot of press for Magpie and stuff like that. Something about I'm glad we're going to have the time to get it right, which maybe speaks to some of the production being moved and pushed down the line a little bit. But I just like this little update, and it gets me excited, having just done the Andor rewatch, Jen, of Beau Willimon having his hands on a Star Wars movie is a good thing for me. It's a good idea.
100%. I was shocked when he said, Beau Willimon, well, he didn't say it, but they said Beau Willimon is his partner. I was like, what? This is going to be fantastic, because House of Cards was one of my favorite shows, and he was a showrunner on that for 4 years, I believe.
Right.
And he wrote, like you said, the One Way Out episode, in Andor, Narkina 5, and Nobody's Listening.
Yes.
That really great episodes. Yeah,
absolutely love that arc. That's amazing stuff there. Sorry, I cut you off. I was looking at that too.
It's exciting. When are we gonna get this thing? I don't know.
Well, that's the final question I was going to ask. Place your bet. Are we going to see this film, Jen, in the 2020s?
Oh, that's why this whole thing is kind of funny, because they haven't even finished a draft. Who knows how long it's going to take them?
True.
And they're busy people, Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like Lucasfilm has to surprise us and be like, surprise, we're Rogue Squadron, we're filming. Like, I don't know.
In a weird way, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie announcement and the fact that it's already wrapped, in terms of production, now gone on to post-production, that was a close enough to surprise for me of like, oh, wait, what? I'm with you. It just, again, I think it's okay to poke a little fun at Lucasfilm. Let me just say this. Them not having a draft is not abnormal.
No.
But it's the fact that at London a year ago almost, you over a year ago now, right? Yeah, time flies. You bring them on stage. James Mangold's doing this film. And it's almost like they go off stage and he's like, awesome. Now what should it be about?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I guess we should write. Yeah. And he's been busy, and he had the Dial of Destiny push, and then the Bob Dylan film and all those things, without a doubt. They're all busy. So it's not abnormal to me, but it just makes me think 2029, maybe?
I feel like this is weird, because the thing is that this is Star Wars we're talking about. This is not an indie project, right? This is Star Wars, and I don't know what is going on. What's the priority right now? I don't know.
Fair question.
Right? Right?
I think good transition here of just I have some angst about Star Wars films going forward, because there's been a lot of doubts and questions, and a lot of it's not even from me. I love Rise of Skywalker. I know you don't wouldn't describe your feelings for that as much, but you enjoy it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jen, but I'm like, cool, we're good, but I can't wait till we come back. And now, other people kind of put a lot of doubt on it. There's a lot of these articles about it. That's why it's actually okay to poke a little fun and, hey, can you get something right? And some of it's not their fault. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to be honest right now. It's like when as a comic, when I take the stage, often you tell yourself, just get the first joke out and get the first laugh. Once you get the first laugh, you're going to be okay. And you hope that's the first thing you say, but sometimes it's the fifth thing you say. I just want Mandalorian and Grogu to come out. And I just want to feel like, yay, it's back in theaters. Love all the streaming stuff. Not turning off the streaming stuff. Hope there's more streaming stuff. But we're back in theaters, and the first laugh is had. We're ready to keep going. I just have some angst about it.
I feel your angst, and I feel the same way. And it's not just Lucasfilm. It's the state of the industry. It's the state of, all the content, movies, TV series, all that stuff. It seems in flux. Nobody knows what they're doing. Yeah. People are like, should I put out a TikTok series? Like,
Should I start a podcast? Yeah.
Right. And so studios are trying to figure it out right now. We're in a strange thing coming off of the strike, coming off of a pandemic, right? So there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's not fair because I feel like people are talking about these projects when they haven't even finished them. And people are announcing that, like Sean Levy is like, yeah, I'm doing something Star Wars. It's like, but how far along are you? Like, let's just all wait until something is actually gonna happen.
It's we exist because there's news to discuss. We as a podcast exist. Right. All the industry that you and I and Joseph have been in and around, the digital media punditry world, exists because it's fun to talk about it. It's fun to have anticipation. It's fun to think about it. I'm never changing that, and I never would fault anyone for doing that. But I just do think of a lot of what you're talking about. Go back to the 80s. There was conventions. There was Starlog magazine. There was movie news magazines, Entertainment Weekly, Premiere, all that stuff. But the news wasn't treated, the announcement of it wasn't treated as earth-shattering as it is now. Because it's fun. Because who doesn't love going to convention? Trust me, I was there in London. They brought Daisy Ridley out, the house came down. Mangold comes out, the house comes down. Filoni comes out in his cowboy hat. House comes down. He had a trench coat, too. He looked like a Red Dead character. It's fun. So I want that. I'm bummed I'm not going to Tokyo. I'd love to be there for some announcements. But, it didn't happen like this in the 80s. And this is just as an old guy conversation. But it's like then it puts a lot of pressure on projects that wasn't there in the past. And we can't take it back. You can't put it back in the bottle. But someone like Jim Mangold, who, was very vocal on social media leading up to Indy, and recently was pretty honest about the reception of Indy bumming him out, which I think is a shame. I think Dial of Destiny's a great film. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of what you're speaking to as well, and what I think creates the angst is there's a tremendous pressure on something that's just simply announced. It's not even done, worked on. It's just the idea's been announced.
Yeah, and my nature is to want to defend Star Wars and defend Lucasfilm, as you've mentioned, right? Yep. Because we know that there are people who are like, see, they don't know what they're doing. See, they announced this and nothing happened. It's like, well, that's typical. That's the movie business. It's just here it's heightened and amplified, and there's just a lot more pressure on Lucasfilm to make announcements when maybe they wouldn't have, and there's just a lot of things happening behind the scenes. And I want the best for them. What's the best for Lucasfilm?
Yeah, no, and look, and like again, I do not want conventions to stop. That's not my suggestion. It's just it's you got to live with it. But like I know for a fact that Dave, John, and everyone like they love doing the panels. But they don't love saying anything. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to show clips. They don't want to do that. They don't want to talk. They're just like they want to come out and go, "Yep, Ahsoka season 2. Do you like season 1? Great. Let's talk about that." And then let's go, because they want to go work on it, and they don't. It's a different world, but you can't change it. It is what it is, and it's part of the process.
Yeah. Where we freeze frame, scenes from a trailer, and we do these, reaction reviews, and like it's totally changed from how it was. Yeah. When the creators are like, we just want to do the work. And
I'm glad
share it with you guys when we're done.
And I'm glad this exists. I love working in this field, but sometimes I wonder, what have we done? What have we done? But anyways, that's not I'm gonna even end it on. That's not a negative thing to end on. I'm hopeful. Like I said, I cannot wait. I am more excited for Mandalorian and Grogu just as a concept, just as Star Wars back in the theater than I was when it was even announced. And I'm excited for James Mangold and Bo Willimon to take this picture over the finish line whenever that happens.
That's right. And season 2 of Skeleton Crew
will happen. Yes. Be great. The college years.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Could be. Well, that is it. That's a look at Star Wars news. Just some updates. Some hopefully not too bummer of industry talk about this stuff going on. I can't even go get a sandwich at my favorite sandwich shop anymore. It's closed down. There you go. But that is it for this week. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. Podcast is available in a lot of different spots. Just search and find us. We are on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video like the Power Rankings videos we're putting out on Saturday. Merch available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. And you can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Go to my website, kennapzok.com for more information. Got a big comedy show coming up on January 10th. I'll tell you all about it soon. Jen, where can they find and follow you?
You can find me on all the social media sites at Jennifer Landa. I just have to say this one quick thing, happy thing where my daughter saw KB and she's like, she's a cyborg. That's why she knows everything. And then like 10 minutes later, she's like, I don't want to be a cyborg. Is that going to happen to me? And I was like, no. And then my husband from the kitchen's like, don't tell her about the Neuralink or whatever it was. I'm like, shoot.
We're all going to be AI. Yes.
That's right.
There you go.
For all the cyborgs, there you go.
There you go. And as always, you can follow Joseph at Joseph Scrimshaw. He's on Blue Sky and Threads, other spots. But go to his website, josephscrimshaw.com, to find out how you can still support his film as it moves to post-production. All right, that is it. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.